will now be on the record in state of Kansas versus Jordan Alicia Denny. Ms. Denny, you do have a couple felony charges. Are you going to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
I would like to be going for court appointed.
All right. So you don't have a job. Do you have any money?
Not right now.
Judge, there's a motion to revoke the defendant's bond filed on record. One of the conditions of her bond is to not be having contact with her co-defendant, Mr. Goodwin, and Ms. Denny was arrested on January 30th. In this case, 3 days later, she was found with Tyler Goodwin in Butler County, Kansas. She was arrested for interference with law enforcement operating a motor vehicle without driver's license. So the state's asking for her bond to be revoked. She's having contact with the co-defendant and has committed a new crime while on bond.
It's the state of Kansas versus Jordan Alicia Denny. It's case number 24CR26. Jill Gillette appearing for the state. William McClendon as defense counsel. Defendant Denny appearing from the Greenwood County Jail Zoom location. What is current case status here, Mr. McClendon?
Judge, Miss Denny had her bond revoked, and I put in a motion for new bond. Upon finding that out, we were supposed to have a PHC where we were going to try to set this over for evidentiary hearings. But I did not know that she had a warrant out for having her bond to be revoked due to a traffic infraction in Wichita.
All right. What are you suggesting that we do regarding bond status today, Mr. McClendon?
Your Honor, I would just ask for a new bond to be issued for my client.
What's the state's position here, Ms. Gillette?
Your Honor, Ms. Denny keeps violating her bond conditions, committing new crimes. It was more than just a traffic infraction in Sedgwick County. She was stopped for a traffic infraction and found to be in possession of a stolen vehicle. She's been revoked before for new charges in Butler County. She's racking up charges in different jurisdictions. The prior time that she was revoked, she was also having contact with her co-defendant that she was ordered not to have contact with. Ms. Denny's bonds have been raised, and she continues to go out and break the law instead of doing what she needs to do. And her last bond was raised up fairly significantly for continuing to have contact with her co-defendant and continuing to have violations of the law. We are asking that her bond be, I think she was set at 100,000 before, and this is a case where she was the passenger in the fling and elude, throwing evidence out the window as the car was driving. So we're asking for her bond to be a significant bond. Judge Webster put a no bond hold on her because of her behavior while out on bond. She was on GPS while committing these crimes because she had a GPS monitor on her because of her fleeing and eluding status and criminal history. Therefore, it's the state's position that either she be held till she sees Judge Webster or a bond to ensure her behavior is set. Have also offered to the defense when her bond was revoked that if she wanted to go to treatment, that we would make arrangements to make sure that if she got a drug and alcohol evaluation, that we would see that she had delivery to treatment with an order that she stay there as a condition of her probation, because I feel like the better part of her issues have to do with her drug use, and treatment would be the best thing for her at this time.
The bond that I see evident in the file was for $47,500. Was there a bond after that one?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and that one was 90?
Yes.
Ms. Denny doesn't appear to get the message. Anything you want to say, Mr. McClendon?
Your Honor, I know my client is currently still looking for work so she can pay for these legal problems, and she's also helping her mother take care of her little brother. And other than that, that's about all I have to present.
Anything you want to say, Ms. Denny?
Yes, I was not charged with a stolen vehicle because the vehicle that was bought was,
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that.
yeah, and I have been trying my hardest to stay out of trouble. And I know there was a traffic infraction, and I had went to go get my glasses to make sure I could actually get my legal driver's license, because I had to get my driver's license so I could get my traffic infraction out of Butler taken care of. And I wasn't charged with a stolen vehicle because there was enough evidence that I'd had no control over the stolen vehicle. It was sold to me and my family like that.
Okay. I don't really have a concern about stolen vehicles today, Ms. Denny. What I have a concern about is whether you can be relied upon to appear in court, which there's very little evidence before me to suggest that you would.
I have showed up to court every time. In fact, I showed up to court when I was arrested, and I have an ankle monitor on my ankle still.
And number two, you're being charged with a level 2 drug felony, a presumptive prison crime, which obviously adds to the level of risk here. Court will reestablish bond in this case at $150,000, cash or professional surety required. And what's the next court date, Missy, for Ms. Denny? Or
I
do
believe
have-
I believe on Friday we set up for May 24th at 1:30 for a BHC.
Okay. May 24, 1:30 p.m. is the next setting in the case. Ms. McClendon remains Ms. Denny's counsel. Anything else we need to address here, Ms. Gillette?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. McClendon?
Heath,
My ankle monitor.
was something.
Yeah, Judge, I was just curious, if she does go ahead and make that bond for the 150,000, do we still need to have the monitoring on, ankle monitor on?
Yes, I'm not relaxing any of the previously established restrictions. Thank you for that question, Sheriff. If there's nothing further, the Denny matter will be in recess. We'll move on to another case.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
4 to 6 weeks later.
And Jordan Denny, I thought we did Mr. Denny too, or Miss Denny, whichever. That name I thought we did.
I think you
Well,
started
George.
and then you went
Say-
to another.
Say that again, Missy.
I think you started and then someone come on for the jail and then you went to another one.
Okay, let's go on the record in 24 CR 26, State of Kansas versus Jordan Alicia Denny. Please announce appearances.
May it please support Mary Ann Shirley, pro tem for the county attorney's office.
Lynn McClendon for the defendant, Jordan Denny, who appears via Zoom from a separate location.
How does she want to proceed, Mr. McClendon?
Your Honor, we'd like to set this for a prelim,
Okay.
an evidentiary hearing. That is.
And it looks like it might take a while, as many charges, maybe not. Maybe it's all the same witness. Missy, what can you give us? Maybe an hour, a couple hours, maybe?
Is there lab results that need to come back?
I didn't even think about that. I think they might be back.
If
I'm
they're
looking.
not- Shirley, it looks like the incident is alleged to have occurred January 30th. So that means it's almost 5 months. And then if you give us a prelim date, they should be back, hopefully.
They're back. They're back.
Okay.
They
I-
received 516.
I found him.
Okay.
Okay, so I have that June 28th at 10, or we could go into July.
The 28th works for me.
Can you give me 2 hours there?
Yep, 10 to noon.
10 to noon. Okay. So Miss Denny, your bond is continued with the added condition that you reappear June 28th at 10 a.m. By Zoom. Okay. Anything else before I release Miss Denny?
I have nothing.
All right, Miss Denny, you're excused. Thank you for waiting so long. It's been a while.
Yes, thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Are we going to have an actual hearing, Mr. McClendon, in your case that's waiting?
I just talked to my client. We're going to be waiving today, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, you're gonna waive?
We're going to waive today.
All right, does she
If
want
I
to do
could-
that? We'll take care of that real quickly. Where is she?
She's still in breakout room. And I'd like, if you don't mind, Your Honor, can I get a quick breakout with Jill to
Yes,
discuss some stuff?
but
I'll
your
make
client,
it very quick.
but I'm confused why your client is Shannon Pickett and I show on the docket.
That's her mother's phone, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Jordan Denny is on Shannon Pickett's phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, we'll give you a breakout room. We're back on the record in 24 CR 26, State of Kansas versus Jordan Alicia Denny. All parties as before. The state has just addressed its motion to revoke the defendant's bond, reciting from the motion to revoke as well as an addendum to that motion to revoke. Missy, could I see you for a minute? I started to get you a while ago and then I got sidetracked. Just a moment. All right, back on the record in Denny. Mr. McClendon, your client's response. Does she wish to challenge these allegations and have an evidentiary hearing on them?
If you want to just take a quick oral argument for me, Your Honor, that'd be fine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Your Honor, she states her monitor stays on the entire time. Green Feather has called her previous when her monitor gets low. She answers these calls, lets them know, gets it plugged in as soon as she can. They haven't called in like, what do you think, Miss Denny? Probably a month or so.
About a month or so. And when they do call, they also call
Hey,
my person that pays my stuff. So
Okay, so
Okay.
she's stipulating that her monitor has not been working, but she's saying it's not her fault. Is that what she's doing, Mr. McClendon?
Yeah,
I'm
virtually, Your Honor, yes. And then additionally on the Sedgwick County case, she's already had her bond revoked for that case. When we were here in May for a preliminary hearing control.
Are you saying that's not, she stipulates she's got a case in Wichita, but she's saying it happened after this one?
There was a case in Wichita where she was picked up on driving while suspended in April, and then you revoked her bond already prior in May, and she's already paid off that ticket, and here she is today. She's supposed to go to court on that ticket on 7/1, but again, it's been paid off, so she's no longer going. She has she'd like a request to change an ankle monitor company to use the one her bondsman has. She's willing to pay off any monitor fees she can as soon as possible. She thought they were still being paid. She didn't realize she's delinquent on them. She's pregnant. Her ankles are swelling, so she's going to need to get a new monitor anyways.
All right,
And
when did she get pregnant? She's not supposed to be having any contact with this guy since at
14
least
weeks.
February.
14 weeks, Your Honor, so that put it mid-March, but
Is he
again,
the
she's
father?
already. Yes, Your Honor, but again, she's had her bond revoked for that issue.
that was my first bond revocation.
Ms. Denny, don't talk. I don't want you to incriminate yourself or anything.
Ms. Gillette, it looks to me like she's posted 3 bonds in this case. The first one was $47,500, February 4th of 2024 through Second Chance. The second bond she posted was March 25th, 2024 for $90,000. And then it looks like she posted yet a third one with Second Chance on April 30th of 2024 for $150,000. So apparently she's had her bond revoked twice now.
Yep, still can't follow the rules. You would think that after the first time she would start following the rules. You would think that after the second time she'd start following the rules. If you have a problem with your GPS bracelet, the first thing you do is call the GPS monitoring service.
I didn't know there was a problem with my GPS monitor bracelet. They didn't call me.
She doesn't go
All
in.
right, does she want an evidentiary hearing or not? Or does she stipulate to the violations but alleges they're just not her fault? We need to bring in the bondsman and, or the electronic monitoring person.
Can I at least go have my
Yeah.
bracelet looked at?
Your Honor, I think a lot of that would be dependent on whether or not you reissue a new bond. If you're not going to reissue a new bond, I'd request the evidentiary hearing.
Missy thinks we can do this Tuesday, an evidentiary hearing. Miss Gillette, can you get your witnesses here by then?
I can ask Greenfeather if they'll show up on that date.
Okay. And then is she on probation or corrections right now?
No, Your Honor.
No.
Miss Pickett, you don't have any officers that you report to?
Yes, Tony Bauer.
Tony Bauer. And what are you on? Let's see, he's court services. So what do you report to Tony Bauer for?
Traffic.
A traffic matter?
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you saw him?
I just seen him 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? I'm going to order that you go see him today for a UA as part of your bond
Yes, ma'am.
and part of your probation.
Well, he's in Butler County, so I see him over the phone. So
You see him over the phone?
yeah, but I can report to any UA place you need me to report to.
Okay, well, you check with Mr. Bauer by phone and see where he can do your UA today,
Okay.
because I want that done within 2 hours.
Yes, ma'am.
You have someone that can drive you legally to wherever he tells you to go?
I can have someone. I can find someone.
Okay. And we'll have a bond revocation hearing. What time, Missy, on Tuesday?
10 o'clock.
10 a.m. And you will need to be in person at the Greenwood County Courthouse. Those kind of hearings we do in person. So make sure you're here at 10 a.m. at the Greenwood County Courthouse.
Okay.
And
And can I go to Greenfeather and have them check my bracelet? Because my bracelet, they does not tell me it's dying. Nothing. It gives me no warning. Nothing.
well, I want you to comply with your bond.
I'll give you a call after this, Jordan.
All right.
Okay, because I don't. If it's not working right, then I don't want to continue to be getting in trouble because my bracelet. I got a new bracelet put on
When did you get that put on?
like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, apparently it's not working either. So talk to your attorney and then be here in court. And
Well, no, the reason I got a new bracelet put on was because the clip. They even said it happens all the time, and I freaked out and I immediately called up there and I went immediately to there, right? Immediately as that clip had came off, and they said it wasn't tampered with, nothing. And I went there immediately. I called my bondsman, I called Greenfeather, and I immediately went up there. I didn't wait no time, nothing at all.
All right, we'll take all of that up Tuesday.
We'll discuss it Tuesday.
And you said she's how far along on the pregnancy?
14 weeks, Your Honor.
14
She-
weeks?
And obviously, as part of her bond continuance, I'd request that she has some type of third-party contact with Mr. Goodwin to at least notify him of the pregnancy, Your Honor. He has no idea when the due date is or
Doesn't even
anything like
know.
that.
Absolutely no contact, not through a third party, no way.
Yes, ma'am.
You were not supposed to have contact. You weren't supposed to have a pregnancy with him during the bond period. So no contact with him. Call Tony Bauer as soon as we're through. Get over there within 2 hours and get a UA wherever he wants you to go. If it's El Dorado, so be it. Hopefully you're not using any drugs while you're pregnant, so that's probably a good thing that you're confident that you don't have to worry about a UA. Let's get a hair follicle test too. I'm ordering that as well. So, Missy, if you could let court services for Tony Bauer know to do that.
Yes, Judge.
Now, that is Greenwood County. Is he out of Greenwood or is he doing that through Elk?
Elk in El Dorado, Butler.
Oh, through Butler County. Okay. All right. Is that a felony case or a misdemeanor? You said it's a traffic? Okay, so it is my case. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to address from either party?
Nothing from me, Your Honor.
All right. And I think Miss Denny, it goes without saying that if you fail to appear, there will be a warrant.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you.
We are in recess on this case.
3 days later.
We're on the record in 2024 CR 26, State of Kansas versus Jordan Alicia Denny, County Attorney Jill Gillette for the state, Mr. McClendon appearing for the defendant, who also appears now in person in custody. Miss Denny, you were under bond to appear at 9 a.m. this morning, and I waited 45 minutes because your attorney said you were on your way, but you didn't show for quite some time. And even when I adjourned the docket much later in the morning, you were not here. And I denied your attorney's request for continuance. So what happened? Why weren't you here at 9 o'clock?
Well, Your Honor, I can't drive. I couldn't drive myself, and I had to wait for a legal ride to get off of work. And so the ride that I had, I mean, it was hard to schedule a ride to be able to take me since I do live an hour and a half, like about an hour and a half away. I had to come.
Don't you live in Wichita?
Yes.
What part of Wichita do you live in?
West side, super west side.
Okay.
And I had called up to the courthouse early in the morning and told them that my ride, my ride was getting off of work around 9:30, and so it was going to be a little bit harder for me to get up there on a certain time. But as soon as my ride got there, I came here immediately.
Well, Ms. Denny, I don't think you're understanding that you have an obligation to appear, and the court doesn't work around your time. You work around the court's time. It's part of your bond. And if you don't show up when you're supposed to, you violated your bond. And I think we set this hearing last week, did we not?
Yes, and so my initial ride, I mean, they actually ended up having to go to work. So they ended up being called into work and they couldn't take me. That's why I had my second ride that was able to take me, who had just gotten off of work.
All right. Well, are you aware that the hearing you missed was a hearing to determine if the court should revoke your bond for violating it?
Yes, Your Honor. And I was told when I called the courthouse that like in the morning, they told me that my court was at 10. I had gotten here about 11. I got here like 11:15 is when I got here.
Well, when I called your case again, you weren't there. Mr. McClendon did say at some point at the end of the docket that you had arrived. But we need to have that hearing to determine if you violated your bond and if it should be revoked. And Ms. Gillette, what have you to say about that?
Judge, we had Green Feather subpoenaed for this morning. It's important to be able to have the witnesses present. Ms. Denny's bracelet, they've been trying to get a hold of her to get her bracelet and figure out why it's been off for such a significant amount of time for her GPS.
And they were here to testify, and they did make the statements that she's not answered their calls. She tried to claim last week that there was something wrong with her bracelet. If there's something wrong with your bracelet, you drive immediately over to your monitor company. And she didn't. They didn't see her. They haven't heard from her. She's considered AWOL for a green feather. They've given us updates that are in the file. Choices have consequences. She wasn't responsible to be here today on time. If you can't make your court hearing, call your bondsman. They're responsible for you getting to court on time. That's why they sign the bond. And I know that she's related or knows her bonds people. So they are the ones that are responsible to make sure you're here on time. And so you call them. When I was the defense attorney, I called bonds people all the time and said, hey, this person needs to ride to court, make sure they're there. I've got to be there early.
Yes,
So-
Ms. Gillette, you filed some other concerns, but most of it was the fact that she was missing.
Yes, most of it is
It's also the concern about her having contact with this co-defendant. She told me the other day she was 14 weeks pregnant and that he was the father of the child. Mr. McClendon, I think I've got enough right now to revoke her bond, but we can set it for full hearing if you want.
Judge, I think my client would appreciate that. If I don't know when, I know the court and the holiday coming up this week, it may be a difficult thing to do.
Yes, I gave her a special setting for this. I set it over for special setting. Her CSO on the other case, Mr. Bauer, was here. But Missy, do you have anything the first of next week?
We could probably do it Monday afternoon.
What time?
1:30.
Okay, Monday, 1:30. What day of the month is that?
The 8th, July 8th.
Okay, council, can both of you be here Monday, July 8th at 1:30?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll be.
All right, that will be the order of the court. I am going to hold the defendant without bond until then.
Well, can I? If I go ahead and take my bond forfeiture, would I be able to get a new bond set?
Potentially, yes. Are you wanting to waive your right to a bond hearing? I mean, I'm not going to guarantee you what the outcome will be. That wouldn't be appropriate, but do you want to talk to your attorney about that?
Yeah, can I have a breakout room?
All right, Mr. McClendon, if that's all right with you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. McClendon, do you have in front of you a copy of the allegations on the motion to revoke bond?
No, Your Honor. I've seen when I've been in the county attorney's office, so.
Ms. Gillette, can you fax him a copy of that, or not fax, but email it?
Just email me. Yeah.
Can you email him a copy of your motion?
I think I can.
Is it on eFlex, Jill?
It is,
It is.
but yes.
Yeah,
But
I'll just put it off eFlex. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
I couldn't get on Odyssey a minute ago, so I don't know if we're having public access portal problems with Odyssey or if the whole court system's having problems again. Judge is on there, aren't you, Judge?
I'm on there, and I got a copy of it.
Okay.
I'm on right now, so unless there's an issue getting it pulled up.
I can go over that with you, but let me see. Yeah, the motion to revoke bond alleges that you were put on electronic monitoring in order to have no contact with the co-defendant and not to violate any laws. At the time of the filing the motion, June 21st, it was alleged by the state that you had 3 violation notices from the monitor. And she attached the notices to the motion, and that the last notice of the bracelet it gives the time frame of where you were gone. And, but that's the bulk of it, that you were having contact and that you were violating your motion. So I'll let you and your attorney go over that. Deputy, is she the last one in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll put them in a breakout room, Missy, if you would, please. We are back on the record in 2024 CR 26, State of Kansas versus Jordan, Alicia Denny, all parties appearing as before. Mr. McClendon, are you able to rejoin us?
I apologize, Your Honor. I had another client call.
Okay, so you've had a chance to talk with your client. She was contemplating waiving her evidentiary hearing. What announcement, if any, have you, Mr. McClendon?
Your Honor, we will waive evidentiary hearing today and be motioning for a new bond.
All right, Miss Denny, your attorney tells me that you're going to waive your right to an evidentiary hearing in which the state would have the burden of proving that you violated your bond. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
And your attorney tells me that, or implies at least, that you want to stipulate or agree that you violated your bond as alleged by the state in the motion.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're agreeing that you have had contact with your co-defendant in violation of your bond?
No,
Your Honor, we'll be agreeing simply to the ankle monitor dying, and
yeah, I
there,
have to,
there was we're agreeing, we're stipulating that there is some kind of issue that did not allow the GPS company to continue tracking Miss Denny.
Well, apparently Deanna Loibl of Green Feather Monitoring, when she was here this morning, would have testified that as of June 27th, no, she said as of today, the bracelet was dead and that they were considering the defendant AWOL, trying to recover their equipment, that the defendant's battery was critical June 17th, 24 at 6:46 a.m., that the monitor company lost location and communication on 6/17 at 11:22 a.m., and the bracelet was still dead June 18th at 4:12 p.m., and that the dead battery on March 29th at 8:32 a.m. with location and communication coming back March 29, 2024 at 10:30 p.m. Location unknown during these timeframes due to insufficient charging. Dead battery May 21st, 9:32 a.m. Location and communication coming back May 21st at 11:42 a.m. Unknown during these timeframes as to locations of the defendant due to insufficient charges. So that's what the testimony would show. And then I think, all right. So Mr. McClendon, is that what your client is waiving hearing to and stipulating to? Or maybe,
Yes, Your Honor.
okay. And do you agree with that, Ms. Denny, that that's what Green Feather's evidence would show?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Is anyone making you give up your right to hearing today by any kind of threat or promise?
No, Your Honor.
And you know that any bonds to be set or not set are within the discretion of the judge?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that there aren't any guarantees as to what your bond would be?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that the court could even order a no bond hold?
Yes, Your Honor.
And knowing all this, you still waive your right to hearing and stipulate to these violations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the state, apparently, Ms. Gillette, would you be, if this were to go to hearing, would you also be arguing that the defendant had contact with Tyler Goodwin this time around or not?
I'm not sure this time around. All I know is that her bracelet has been
Okay.
off.
All right, so we don't have to worry about that one because you didn't want to admit it and the state's not going to pursue that this time. We did address that at a previous bond revocation. So finding the defendant in violation of her latest bond, that is the $150,000 professional surety bond posted April 30th, 2024 with Philip Webb of A Second Chance. I do revoke the defendant's bond. Now, counsel, I understand you want to be heard on reinstatement of bond. I would just show the history in this case. That this is the third bond that the defendants had revoked. Well, it's the second she's had revoked, but it's the third bond. Her first bond was posted February 2nd, 2024, in the amount of $47,500, with the condition that she make her first appearance on March 19 of 24. On March 19 of 24, it was alleged that she was violating her bond, and the motion to revoke was set the following day, March 20th, 2024. On that date, the defendant was found in violation of bond, having contact with Tyler Goodwin, and violating the law as new charges were charged against her in Butler County. A new bond after she was revoked was set at $90,000 with another no contact and EMD added. She posted that $90,000 bond to March 25th, 2024. On April 26th of 2024, she was arrested, taken into custody for the second bond revocation warrant. Bond at that time was set at $150,000 with the condition that she appear June 28th, 2024. On June 28th, she did waive her rights to preliminary hearing and was bound over for arraignment with Judge Crum July 25th, 2024 at 9 a.m. As far as the state's motion to revoke bond, that was set for this morning. And the defendant failed to appear this morning. So, Mr. McClendon, you want to go first and make your recommendations?
Judge, Miss Denny is 14 weeks pregnant. She's going to be dealing with pregnancy in the upcoming future. And to be able to, I mean, I don't know the intricacies of pregnancy as I'm a male and not a married one either, but I know there are probably complications that will arise with that. Miss Denny's more than willing to go on an ankle monitor, and you know she's trying, Judge. She's trying to stay clean. Her UA came back clean, and we hope that her follicle will too. Judge, I just asked for a new bond to be made.
Does she have the hair follicle test that I ordered?
She did, Your Honor. We're just waiting for it to come back because those take a bit.
I think she was late getting in to see her probation officer too, as I recall when yeah, I think he said you were. I gave you a time frame, and according to your probation officer, you didn't make it. But it was the same day at least, so.
She called Tony, and again, Your Honor, I'm going to remind you, she doesn't have a valid driver's license, which has been an issue in this case, as you know, and that, you know, probably for her to be able to find a ride and get there was obviously probably an issue there.
Well, I don't understand why
As it was an issue today.
why she couldn't hire an Uber. I mean, she has no trouble making bond. Even at 150,000, she can make bond at the drop of a hat. So I don't know why she couldn't have hired an Uber to get her here. Anyway, Miss Gillette, your response to this motion? Well, I don't know if it's a motion to reinstate or to set a new bond. I didn't hear an amount, but Miss Gillette, your response?
Judge, this is a serious case. It's got serious allegations. And when someone doesn't follow their bond conditions, they're showing the court what we can expect in their probation. They're showing us how they treat the orders of the court. And I've been dealing with this a lot lately. It seems there's a degrade in how people treat the courts, going along with their with Zoom. Basically courts aren't here in person, and it doesn't seem to be as people are just taking it for granted. And in this case, these are serious allegations. Attempted destruction of evidence by throwing guns and drugs out the window while the car is moving the road, trafficking contraband into the jail. There's very serious allegations, and this is a large amount of meth. The anticipation was that the parties were going to try to have an agreement to try to work this case out. And Miss Denny is basically showing the state as well as the court that she doesn't want to follow the rules. I hate to say this, but she's claimed to be pregnant when she was originally arrested on this case, but wasn't. She's claimed to be pregnant other times when she's been arrested. I don't know if this is a real pregnancy or not, based on her history. The little boy who cries wolf came to mind in this case. And if she is really pregnant this time, then, congratulations. But the baby was conceived during the time that she was supposed to be under a no contact order with the alleged father. The situation has grown because she doesn't follow the rules. She goes out and commits new crimes. We put her on GPS. She won't keep the GPS on. Promises to keep the GPS on again when we have sent notification that she's got violation reports consistently. That's the problem. She's showing us she cannot be consistent. At some point, you have to realize that you have to take responsibility for your decisions and your actions. And I say that a lot in court, and I hate to have to say it, but Miss Denny is showing us she didn't take responsibility for her actions. She was again late today. There's proper ways to handle things. And she's showing the court that she doesn't abide by any bond conditions, no matter what bond and conditions we set on her. So in this case, if we set another high bond and she gets out on GPS, is she going to go right back to doing what she's been doing for the last several months? I mean, it's been over 70 days that she's not kept her GPS on. And getting her back up here to the court to have a hearing on this bond. She's just showing the court where we're headed with probation, that she isn't amenable to probation throughout this case, and that she's not going to honor any kind of deal she's making with the state, because not honoring your bond conditions is also showing me you're not going to follow your agreement with me. And so I don't even know what kind of a bond to even suggest here based on her history. Her choices have led for her to be in custody today, including showing up over an hour late to court.
Miss Gillette, while she was on bond, she was picked up in Butler County with the co-defendant. Did criminal charges come out of what they were up to at that time?
Yeah, it was mostly traffic stuff.
Wasn't there some kind of allegation of a stolen car or something like that, or was that here at Greenwood?
That's the
No.
original case, Your Honor.
The original case has a stolen car, but there was an issue with stuff over there as well. And so we had actually brought a copy of the affidavit that was signed, and we actually at one point subpoenaed the officer of the court from the Butt County case, and we had that officer present to be able to testify about what he saw and finding Miss Denny. That was Billy Cole from over in Butler County. And they were trying to push a 2013 Lincoln MKX bearing a different license plate over there. And it was her and Mr. Goodwin.
The license plate didn't match the car they were pushing.
I'm not sure if it did or not, but Ms. Denny gave the false name Anna Mitchell at that time. And we actually had brought him over. The stolen car problems were out of Sedgwick County. She also had a stop in Sedgwick County in a stolen car. So she's had history. And like I said, she gave the wrong name to the Butler County officer, but the stolen car stuff all came out of Sedgwick. And like I said, we even went to the length to have to bring the officer over here. The stolen car was by Officer Johnson.
And I was never with that.
It was a black Chevy Tahoe with an Ohio tag. No charges have been filed yet. The car was returned to its owner, but Sedgwick County delays a lot. We just had a drug filed.
Okay, so you've switched from Butler County arrest to Sedgwick County arrest.
She's had to Sedgwick County.
So I was only charged for a traffic violation because that was a vehicle. That vehicle was bought by my sister. There was a bill of sale and everything in the vehicle. That's why I didn't get charged with that stolen vehicle, because it was not told to us it was stolen, and there was proof of that. That's why I was not charged with the stolen vehicle. I was only charged for traffic.
Now, you're talking Sedgwick or Butler County, ma'am?
That was Sedgwick County, and I got my bond revoked for that, even though it was traffic. And it was not. I never was charged with the stolen vehicle at all, because it was investigated too. There was a bill of sale in there that we had shown them proof that we had the vehicle was bought and like that.
All right. Well, let Miss Gillette finish. If you want to say more, here we can.
So anyway, there were two different arrests to judge, one for Sedgwick County, one for Butler County. And we brought the Butler County officer in. And now we're having all of these GPS issues, plus contact with Mr. Goodwin before. So I really don't know what kind of bond to ask for her, because she doesn't follow any of the conditions. We gave her GPS so that she could be out, and she couldn't her GPS right.
And I was asking to get my bracelet tested. If I don't know that my GPS monitor is having problems, I can't even prove that they have not called my number once. Like, I've given them my new number. They have not called my new number. They have not tried to get a hold of me. And if there's a problem with my GPS bracelet, I don't know just by my bracelet to go get my bracelet checked. So, and if they haven't, I literally can prove that they have not gotten a hold of me, and I have proof that they've gotten a hold of me on that number. I've given them that number before, and they had contacted me before on that same number, and I can prove that they have not called me in that time sprint at all.
All right. Well, they said otherwise this morning, but let me ask you who your sister is that you referred to.
For the one that bought this vehicle, Rebecca Mitchell.
Who?
Rebecca Mitchell.
Now, you said to the officers that you are Hannah Mitchell's adopted sister?
No, that's my biological blood sister. Hannah Mitchell is my blood sister.
Are these Larry Mitchell's daughters?
Yeah, they are my blood. Those are my blood siblings.
Well, I know Larry and his wife. I've known him for years. He's a cop over there, a detective. I've never known that they had any other daughters besides.
I'm Shannon Pickett's daughter. We have two separate.
Okay. So Larry's son had you with another woman that he did the first two granddaughters.
Yeah, I mean, so my mom is Shannon. His wife is Jackie, and they had another daughter. Yeah.
All right. I do think I remember something about the son having a child with Shannon Pickett. But you're not actually Larry's daughter. You'd be
No, it's grandkids.
So what's your dad's name?
My dad's name is David, but my sister's dad's is Jeremy Mitchell.
So
I'm Shannon's daughter.
So who do you have in common? The mother?
Our mom,
Okay.
but Debbie and Larry, they took over. They took care of me too, since my dad wasn't in the picture.
Okay. Some of that kind of comes back to me. At the June 28th hearing, the prelim, the defendant announced she was 14 weeks pregnant, which would have made conception March 22nd, 2024, 2 days after her first bond revocation. From the beginning of this case, she was ordered to have no contact with Taylor Goodwin. She supposedly has not had any contact with Caleb Goodwin since February 7, 2024, when they were in Butler County pushing the car together. So the math is not adding up.
No, I was revoked on March 24th.
I know, which
for
would be,
contact, which was 15.
no, you were revoked on March 22nd. 2 days. Okay. March 20th. You were revoked on March 20th. The date of conception that you're giving would have been March 22nd, but supposedly you haven't had any contact with Tyler Goodwin since the incident that you were arrested for.
My court date,
Stop, don't interrupt, which would have been February 7, 2024, which would be, I believe 20.2857 weeks and not 14. So either you've been having contact with him more than you're admitting, or you're not 14 weeks pregnant with his child.
I do have documentation to prove I am pregnant.
All right. Well, at this point, the court has considered whether or not it has authority to hold you without bail. Because as Ms. Gillette argued, you just don't comply. You say it's not your fault, but you just don't comply. And as counsel knows, the amount of bail is within the sound discretion of the magistrate to set the amount to assure the presence of the accused. And we're told not to set excessive bail, but which would suggest that I set a bail and a bond, unless there's a capital case, which this isn't. But bail need not be given in cases where release on bail would result in danger to another person or the community. And there we go back to the charges that you were looking at initially. And they were substantial. There was unlawful distribution of methamphetamine, somewhere between somewhere around 6 grams in a baggie of, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 41 grams. Then there was conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. Those are both serious felonies. There was traffic and contraband in the correctional facility, as Ms. Gillette said. There's the allegation that you tried to pass off a baggie of methamphetamines, 12 grams as a tampon. And then you've got the forgery charges, identity theft, interference with the law enforcement officer. You and your boyfriend were in the car and he was driving, and it's alleged that you were running from the officers, throwing guns and baggies of meth out the window as you ran. And you're also charged with law enforcement alleging that you gave fake identification, a fake identification card, possessed some drug paraphernalia, and that was January 30th of 2024. Then February 7th or thereabout, you're accused of that activity in Butler County, and somewhere in there you have Sedgwick County charges. So you've been in 3 counties now. I heard you say you had your bond revoked because of Sedgwick County. Which bond was revoked for Sedgwick County?
My 90,000.
Okay, so you're referring to the one back here in Greenwood County. I'm kind of like Miss Gillette. If no bond hold until we process this, just keeps coming back to me, because how do you find a number that's going to assure that you're not going to be a danger to other persons or the community? Drugs, stealing, these are all presumptions at this point, or allegations at this point.
And Judge, I've been clean. Like I've been clean. I haven't been.
Well, I hope if you're pregnant, you've been clean for 14 weeks at least. I will, in part, grant the motion and set a bond. But tell me, who makes these outrageously large bonds? To most people, those would be outrageously large. How do you make those?
Well, my grandparents are one, two. I mean,
Larry and Debbie are putting up this kind of money for you?
no, I have foster families of help too. I have foster family. They're trying to get me more help. I have a Saki Val, and
Who are your foster parents?
Alan and Tammy Denny.
Are they family members?
Yeah, they had tried. They had started to adopt me, but I aged out before I was able to be adopted.
Okay, and they apparently have a good income or good source of money that they can shell out 45 and lose it, 90 and lose it, and now 150 and lose it.
Well, no, they're trying to get me help is what it is. And I have a SAC eval, and I'm trying to go back to Kissa. And I also, I was trying to go back with them if I was able to do so. It's not in Sedgwick County or anything like that. I was going to get hopefully a motion to hopefully at least go down there after I get out of treatment to Kansas City, where they do stay at. But that's after I get the treatment.
Excuse me. Who have you been living with while you're on bond?
My mom, my biological mom.
Shannon.
Yeah, she's been clean and sober.
Well, that was going to be my question. When did she get clean?
She's been sober for 2 years now, and she has full custody of my younger brother. Yeah.
Is she out of trouble with the law? Or?
Yes, she's completely out of all trouble. She's clean and sober, has complete custody with no DCF or any type of involvement from the state at all.
I'm going to set your bond at $500,000 cash or professional surety required. I'm going to order that you be on EMD and that you keep it charged and that it be working at all times.
What's EMD?
It's your.
I'm going to order that you have absolutely, positively no contact with this Mr. Goodwin.
Yes, Your Honor.
That you have no contact with anyone that uses, sells, or makes available alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't go to liquor stores. Don't go to bars. That's if you make the 500,000, and it doesn't sound like you'll have any trouble doing that. Am I right?
I don't know.
All right. And you have your court date, you have the judge. Anything else, Ms. Gillette, we need to address?
All of her bail bonds have been written. Well, one's Justin Province, the other one's Philip Webb. I don't know if they me or not, but I mean, they need to be responsible for making sure she's here for court dates if she's using them or whoever she uses. You know, I've been told that they're members of her extended family. And that's why she's able to make such high bonds. But at this point,
what I know of her family from her growing up, they don't have that kind of money she's using to make bond. Is it her family or the boyfriend's family?
It's not. It's my sister's baby daddy. It's her parents, but they're not related to me. They're not extended to me.
Okay. Which girl is it? Rebecca or the other one?
Rebecca.
So Rebecca's baby daddy is whom?
I'm not sure his name, but
he's the one coming. His parents are coming.
No, yeah, it's his parents that have known my mom's side of the family and their dad's side of the family for a long time, and their son is her baby daddy.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. McClendon from the defense?
and Judge, that's EMD with GPS.
Absolutely.
What's the difference?
It tells me where you are.
Okay, so it's just the same monitor.
Pretty much.
Can I request to change it or get this one tested or something before?
You talked to Greenfeather about that.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I think they said they don't want you back. You may have to get a different monitor. Because they were looking for their equipment when they were here this morning.
They said there was a balance due and they wanted their equipment back.
Again, I don't know why they would be owed any money the way she makes bond. Whoever's making your bond ought to be paying that too. Neither here nor there. I don't want you owing them any money. You make sure you keep that paid up. You make sure you don't, if you disappear with their equipment, that's a new charge of theft. You cut
Yes,
the
Your Honor.
bracelet, that's a new charge of criminal damage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing further, we'll be in recess on this matter. Everyone may go.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.